everyone, and welcome back to Mariana Math Books. My name is Mariana, and today we are here with day 7 of my 2021 TAGMAS. In today's video, I am going to be doing the book Postscript Tag, which was created by Adam at the channel Memento Mori, which, if I am not mistaken, is no longer active. I saw this tag done by Lukov at a Cruel Reader's Thesis. This is a sort of like an end of the year version of the mid-year freakout tag. And I like this tag infinitely more than the end of the year tag, which is why I didn't do the end of the year tag. I don't like those questions, but I very much loved these questions. So I am glad that Lucas brought this tag back to our attention, because I have seen it going around in several channels now. I feel like everyone should do it instead of the end of the year tag, which was going around a few weeks ago. But you know, I do whatever you want. Who am I to tell people what tag they should or shouldn't do? I'm just going to go ahead and answer the questions. No one tagged me on this, but I love these questions, and if you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. Question number 1. The longest book you read this year, and the book that took you the longest to finish. The book that was the longest, but was in 3 volumes, so to speak. Everyone knows it. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3. The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. That one comes at, I think it was 1285 pages plus appendices. If you want a single volume book, the longest was Can You Forgive Her by Anthony Trollope, which my edition was around 850 pages, but I have seen other editions that go over 1,000 pages. The book that took me the longest to read is The Romanov Sisters by Helen Rappaport, which, by the way, is one of my favorite non-fiction books of this year, so don't let the amount of time it took me to read it say anything to you, because I love the book. So I actually started this book on December of 2020, but I didn't finish it until around June of this year. I started it, as I said, in December, and then I reached a chapter where it's basically a lot of name dropping, and so I decided to put it down for a bit, and I put it down for more than a bit, but then when I picked it up, I loved it, and as I said, it's one of my favorite. I would consider it one of my favorite non-fiction books of this year, and it kickstarted my love for biography, so I would call it a success, but it definitely is the longest one that or the one that took me the longest to read. Question number 2. A book you read in 2021 that was outside of your comfort zone. That would be Xanto, Novelucha, Libre by José Luis Zárate, which is an absurdist novella. I don't read absurdist fiction at all, actually, and I really enjoyed it, but it's not my type of book, but I really love that one. I'm glad I read it. Question number 3. How many books did you reread in 2021? I have been talking about how I am not a big rereader, and I am not, but for some reason this year seems to have been the year of the rereads for me. I reread a lot of books. So the first one is, again, say it with me, 1, 2, 3, The Lord of the Rings, which I body read with Elle at Elle Things. Then also I reread The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro, which I body read with Natalie and Roxy from Curious Reader and a Chaotic Bibliophile. I also reread Amber and Clay, and that one I actually read for the first time in March of this year, and then I reread it in August of this year, and I body read it with my friend Cara from Wild Book Garden. Then I want to mention two that were strange rereads in the sense that first, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. That one I didn't read or didn't reread completely, but what happened was that I finished it and then I wasn't ready to let go, and so I went back and reread from half of the book to the end right after I had finished reading it. And then from Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata, this book single-handedly has put me on the biggest reading slump ever this December because I loved it so much, and I start books and I keep going back to From Lukov with Love, and again I haven't reread it in its entirety, but or I think I have, but not from beginning to end. What I have been doing is that I will think, oh, I love this scene, I want to read it again, and so I go back and read it, but then I keep reading, and so then I stop at some point, and then another day I'll be like, oh, I want to reread another scene, and so I will pick up from that scene and then keep reading and do that. And I think from my rereads where I pick up specific scenes and keep reading, I think I can safely say that I have reread it in its entirety but in bits and pieces and I will probably keep rereading bits and pieces throughout the year because my heart is not ready to let them go. Question number 4. Favorite reread of 2021? The Lord of the Rings. I mean, was there even a question about it? But I want to say why. Because it's not only because I loved The Lord of the Rings clearly and I can't shut up about it. It's also because it rekindled my love for Tolkien. When I first read it when I was 12, I got obsessed with Tolkien and Middle-earth and The Lord of the Rings. And then after that, after time passed, I still considered it my favorite book, but my obsession went down and I sort of... Yeah, I stopped being obsessed with Tolkien in general and with Middle-earth. And this reread rekindled my obsession. That is why I it's my favorite, because it brought back that love that I had, that I kind of lost along the way, and I got it back, and I don't think I'm going to lose it ever again. So yeah, favorite reread. Question number 5. A book you read for the first time in 2021 that you look forward to rereading in the future. So for fiction, I'm going to say The Binding by Bridget Collins. And for non-fiction, there are 2 audiobooks that I listen to as audiobooks, and that then I went ahead and bought them because I want to read them again and annotate them, because I know they will become reference books for me, for my writing. And those are Care Work by Leah, Lakshmi, Piepzna-Saramashina, and Laziness Does Not Exist by Devon Price. Question number 6. Favorite single short story or novella that you read in 2021? I am not a huge short story fan, and novellas I do read quite a while, quite a bit of romance novellas mostly, and from those I think my favorite would be Mating the Huntress by Talia Hibbert. I don't think I would reread it, but I would like another novella in that series. Question number 7. Mass appeal. A book you liked and would recommend to a wide variety of readers. That would be Laziness Does Not Exist by Devon Price. I don't usually recommend self-help to anyone, because self-help is very specific. You usually read a self-help book when you are looking for help with a specific topic or area in your life, which is why if you just pick up a self-help book, it's very easy that it won't be for you, because You need to pick up specific books depending on what moment of your life you are in. So don't try to get into self-help just picking up a random book that is very recommended, because it might not be for you at that moment. This one, however, I would recommend, firstly because I think we all need the topic. Society is very obsessed with productivity. I myself, who work in time management, I hate the word productivity, and my whole approach to time management is an anti-productivity approach. So I really appreciated this book for that message, that the anti-productivity message. But there are a ton of anti-productivity books and other media out there. I feel like the anti-productivity approach is becoming more wide and more trendy. So there are a ton of books out there. This is not the only one. But this was different in the sense that it actually acknowledges the context, the social context. One thing that a lot of self-help does is that it focuses on privileged white upper class people. So you will read a self-help book and they will give you an advice and you will think, oh great, yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure you can apply that advice because you are a millionaire, and so you can do that, but I can't because I am not a millionaire. And that happens with a lot of self-help. And usually when I recommend self-help books, I give them with that caveat of saying this is geared towards a different social context, so ignore the advice that doesn't work for you and keep the one that does. But this book is the first self-help book I have ever read that actually focuses on or that takes into account the social and economic context of people, to the point where I'm just going to give you just a random example of, there is this part where it says if this doesn't work for you, or if your bosses don't agree with this type of approach, or if you are not able to just say no at work, consider forming a union. My mind was blown that the U word was used in a self-help book. Consider forming a union is actually a self-care tactic that this book recommends, and if you don't think that alone is something that makes you want to read this book, then I don't know what will. Another thing I can tell you is that it does talk a lot about the history of how this obsession with productivity came to be, and it's rooted in the history of Puritans and of slavery. So it talks a lot about the history of slavery and how the need for keeping slaves and keeping people that worked for no pay is one of the origins of this work ethic of working till you die, and admiring that. So please read it. Please go and read it. It's an amazing book. Everyone should read it. It's one of those books where if it wasn't as expensive to buy because it's only out in hardback, and if it was translated, I would gift this book to every single person I know. Specialized appeal, a book you liked but would be hesitant to recommend to just anyone, and for this one I'm going to go with We Are Not Your Metaphor, a disability poetry anthology by the Zoeglossia Fellows. I loved this anthology, but it won't be for everyone, so yeah, that one. And then question number 9, reflect on your year as a bookish content creator, goals met, good bad memories, etc., favorite videos you made, blah blah blah. I opened my channel this year, and so I think that would be my reflection, is I am glad that I decided to open the channel. I had been thinking about opening a channel for a while, but I was a bit worried because I also do videos and stuff, like social media stuff for work, so I was kind of worried about doing it, and I was hesitant, and I didn't know if I wanted to start it in Spanish or in English, or I had a lot of doubts. So I want to thank my friend Cara from Wild Book Garden, because she is the one who convinced me to open my channel and who helped me figure out what would be the best way for me to do it. So if you have watched my videos and you have enjoyed them, then you have Cara to thank. And then finally, it's just tag some friends, and as you know, I'm not tagging anyone for these videos, so if you're watching this, consider yourself tagged. And I will see you tomorrow for the last day of TAGMAS. In the meantime, happy reading.